Think about a typical day in your life. How do you spend it? What did you wear? What did you eat? The more important question in today's world is, what did you buy? If you look around you, you can see what people buy. But that's not what matters. What matters is where it came from. From the clothes we wear to the products we use to the food we feed ourselves and our pets. Is any of it from nearby? Probably not. But why? With planes and trains and ships and cars, it's been made easy to consume on a massive scale. But what if we kept it local? Many towns and cities would ask, why stay local when it's easy to get resources from far away? But there are others, like Fort Collins, Colorado, who are asking, why not?
Fort Collins is a small city. We're a small city in many senses of the term.
I remember as a child when the first Walmart came to Fort Collins, how my neighbor protested it from that day and still refuses to shop corporate, and how my mom, as I was probably a 3 to 4 year old child, and I remember her taking me to farmers markets when I was little, and I think that is something that was really ingrained in a lot of us.
I think the commercialization, the big box stores, the communities that are built in 5 years in boxes, and everybody who lives in those communities knows what they're missing because they come up to Fort Collins.
Things that we buy at the store, they're so cheap, and then you look, okay, it's made in China, and yeah, the distribution from the factory to the warehouse to the actual store. I think it's becoming incredibly corrupt, and it's made me think about, my diet and my lifestyle.
We've put ourselves in such a hole of consumerism of corporate America. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over a course of decades through capitalism kind of seeping in and valuing the dollar more important than the community and the culture that that dollar produced.
They're using as cheap of ingredients as they can find to mass produce something to make money. So, and I don't work like that.
The piece that really resonates, that I've kind of boiled down and be local to, is that local matters. It matters. It matters to communities. It matters to how we enjoy our community. It matters to how we experience it and how we give our time.
I started about 10 years ago. I actually made dog treats for my dogs, and that's where the base recipe started from, and I put in as many local ingredients as I could, and I put in organic and free range. If it's locally sourced, I know where everything comes from. I can tell you where everything comes from. It's better for the local economy to source things closer to home. The further they have to take it, a lot of times they store it and then they put it on trucks and then they get it here, and then by the time it gets to you, it's sat around for months and months and months, and that has a bearing on how much nutrition is left in the product and the ingredient that you use. It's hard to grow a company when you want everything local, but do I compromise the localness of my business in order to grow big? Or is that something that I don't want to let go? I don't care if I'm a big company and rich and famous. I just want, to make some good treats for dogs and go from there. So
I think in general there becomes a point where you do just start compromising quality for money and portability. I think if you look at what Burt's Bees was when she first started it out on the East Coast, and it was Bert, her husband, was the beekeeper, and she was really doing this stuff, I think we probably had very similar, very equivalent products. I think it's been 7 to 10 years ago now, Burt's was actually sold to Clorox. Basically, when it was sold, they took the brand name and then they changed everything else underneath it. And there are actually literally very few that still even contain bee product, which is so sad to me. But my dad is a beekeeper and has been since I was little, which is why I did make a premise of the company that every product that we make has either beeswax and or honey in it. Everything that I make is a very traditionally based thing. This is stuff that people were making before there was electricity, before we had little tins that we could put things in. You know, most of it is just a lot of weighing things out on scales. For everything except the soap, it really is just a matter of I weigh it out, I warm it up, I pour it into molds or into the containers and then let it solidify. The soap goes through a chemical process, which requires the aging time. When I say tell people that they can use it as a shampoo bar, I get so many funny faces and how would you use that and what do you mean? Lotion used to be in this form, solid, before we started processing it into a liquid form. And actually I think that's one of the biggest battles I face. We have been taught by marketing and consumer bombardment, you know, advertising and everything. We have been taught that soap is supposed to be liquid. No, it's not. Soap, until somebody decided that it was more convenient in a liquid form, has always been solid. The reality is that really, it is a pretty simple process. It's a very traditional process. The herbal stuff, the salves and stuff, that was what we today really consider witchery. I mean, witches were the women who understood the herbs and did that.
The name Witchery Farms Apothecary kind of stemmed from, like, in high school everyone would call my sister and I a witch. Like, oh, what are those witches up to? Kind of just having like a very like magical childhood, and like it is magical. It's magical making these products, and sometimes, you know, I feel like I'm going back 100 years, like making potions, and just that experience, it's so fun. And one of the main reasons why I started is some of, like, you know, chemicals in your shampoos and lotions and face products were kind of irritating my skin. So we were kind of just, you know, really interested in kind of finding natural solutions. So I came up with Witchery Farms Apothecary. For my ingredients for the lotion, I use an emulsifying wax, and this is all vegetable derived. And then I use organic, unrefined shea butter. It doesn't all have to be from all these kind of fast-paced places. It's nice to know that someone is in their kitchen or in their establishment, you know, making these things with their hands. People are experts in certain fields, and they can give gifts to community members.
In a world where big box stores are going up in 3 weeks, I think it's really, really important that our local businesses have the support of each other and have sort of a connectivity to maintain that vibrancy and uniqueness.
I love selling local. It's so amazing. It's such an amazing experience to be able to sell person to person. So right now I don't have any of my product in stores. It's all through farmers markets and craft fairs.
I don't think a lot of people really realize the number of small businesses that exist that do not have storefronts.
They need to be able to have enough customers, and those customers need to be able to see them. So that's one reason why, you know, our winter market is so great.
Even local farms will have like their roadside stands. Local beekeepers will do roadside stands, but they don't have a storefront.
Too many options.
Especially with the winter market, because we do lose out on produce, being, you know, Colorado in the winter. So that time has turned into a place where other local craftsmen and other smaller businesses have an opportunity to be and grow.
It's not like going to the grocery store. It becomes a community event. So they go to the market and they don't just go and shop like they do at the grocery store. They actually spend time and they talk to the people. People want to know who's making the products that they're buying.
I think it's really important to, you know, buy from someone that you trust and has done research, and whether it's like homemade breads or coffee or lotions or Yeah, a ton of different things. A lot of Fort Collins community members are incredibly talented and have so many gifts to share to people. It's really exciting to see.
I think you get an appreciation for what the hard work creates and how important it is to have regular customers and take care of people and connect with people. What makes your lifestyle good? Well, I think your local economy, if it's vibrant, can add a lot of value there.
The markets are so draining and so wearing. They really, really are. But at the same time, the community that's around with that really keeps me going. And as much as I still come home at night and I'm like, oh, I have to weigh out a batch. I don't want to weigh out a batch. It just still is something I enjoy doing. Even when I'm feeling totally down and jaded with what's going on with my company, I can sit and talk to somebody and they're like, it's so refreshing to see somebody who's so excited about what they do. And I've had people say that to me when I'm like, I'm ready to give up. But I think that's still telling that it's still enjoying what I'm doing.
So I think there's a lot to be said about the future of this movement, and that's because the people that are the biggest cheerleaders now are very connected to why it needs to be in existence. You know, we grew up with the big box stores growing up around us, and we don't like that.
Think back to your typical day. What did you wear? What did you eat? What did you buy? More importantly, what did you do to stay local?